So I've gotten that cross member out, and I've gotten this side beaten loose. So I'm going to leave that bolt again to just hold the loader frame up. As I work on this side, I have to take all these bolts out and then work on the hydraulics, getting all the lines moved out of the way. Hopefully when I remove this pump there isn't any kind of pressure, hydraulic pressure, anything behind that. I don't think it is, but I'm hoping that there isn't. But anyways, I'm making headway. I will get back to you guys after I get this side loose and then touch base on the hydraulics. I'll be right back. One thing I wanted to point out with this loader frame is if you see that welded, I don't know what you would call it, but welded bung or something, it runs through to the other side. I don't know if you can tell, but it runs through. So I'm going to take that one bolt and that one bolt out because I don't need that, I don't believe, because that thing that runs through is also holding it up. So I can take those two bolts out and not risk it falling on me. Okay, so I have removed the PTO guard from these two, with these two bolts, or bolt holes. The bolts are gone now, but now I need to take this secondary pump off. I think using that one bolt, smaller bolt there, and that smaller bolt there. So I can pull this off, and then I'll have to loosen up this filter housing, or the filter hanger, using these two. These two bolts have to come off. And then I'm going to have to take this line off of this pump because this big line goes underneath the axle and the small line goes above the axle. So I'm gonna have to take off both of them, or take off the top one, the smaller one, because I assume that'll have less hydraulic fluid in it and make less of a mess. I mean, as if it's not a mess already with this old tractor, but you know, I'd like to minimize it for my sake. But okay, so I've gotten this, our secondary pump, pulled off. It is loose, but now I'm concerned about having this open, just because I have to move this tractor after I get the frame removed. I need to move it to the other side of my building over there, onto my flattened out level ground, and I need to see if it's gonna be spraying fluid everywhere whenever I move it, or if I'm gonna have to order a plate, the cover plate for this, which, as some of you might know, that Long Manufacturing has been out of business for longer than I've been alive, so finding a cover plate for this will be near impossible. So I need to see, I'm going to try start it up, and with the PTO off, and see if it's going to be spraying lots and lots of fluid out. And if it's not spraying a ton, then it may be okay for me just to move it. Whenever I need to move it, just move it into place and deal with the aftermath. But I'm going to set you guys up right here on my handy dandy jack stand, and let's see what we get out of this. Okay, so with the PTO off, it doesn't seem that we have much fluid coming out of there. So we should be good whenever we go to move it into place for the clutch job. So anyways, I'll get back to you on the next step, which will be removing one side of the hydraulic lines that run underneath the tractor to each boom arm. Which I might want to set down this boom before I pop these loose. Anyways, I'll be back with you guys shortly. So, I had a little incident here. So that big line that went to the filter housing and the pump connects to that fitting there, which runs to the holding tank for the hydraulic oil, which is held in this part of the loader frame. But as I was moving that hose, she broke. She split right here and started leaking the whole contents of this tank. And you know, I wasn't prepared for it, and it leaked and leaked and leaked and leaked while I got a bucket and a ratchet to take that little hose clamp off and get the bucket under it. So, well, good it's my own property, but you don't like to do that. What can you say? It's my first time doing this, so. Anyway, so I've got that removed. I need to remove one side of these hoses coming off the bottom of the boom cylinders. And then what I will have to do is figure out how to remove, well, maybe I wouldn't have to remove this front bumper piece. I can't even see where to, I don't see where to, oh, it must be underneath. Yeah, they're right there. So I'll have to remove those, which it may be easier if I just take these 4 bolts off and just leave this part on. But anyways, so all I have to do is remove the hoses that run underneath on one side and then take these loose. And then I have to figure out how to pick. I'm gonna have to back the tractor up after widening, you know, pulling the ends of the loader frame out, get those loose, and then back the tractor up enough that I can then lift up the back and then get this front axle backed all the way out. That's going to be the challenging part, because it's only me working out here, which is fine. It's just fun, but this is the most challenging part so far. Anyways, I'll get back to you guys. Okay, so I have gotten both sides of the back of the loader frame pulled off of those steel rods, I guess you might say. I have gotten these hydraulic lines pulled off and pulled up out of the way, and now all I need is to get these 4 bolts off and then the loader frame will be loose from the tractor. Now I've got jack stands under the front, little jack stands under the back to hold it just in case it just drops. But other than that, all I have is these bolts to take off the front, and then I can start looking at pulling the whole frame off. And I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do that, but working on it. Okay, so I changed my plan. I elected to leave this bumper piece on, mainly because I couldn't get those bolts to budge. So I just left those. I've got both sides of this frame loose, disconnected from the tractor all the way down. I've got them sitting on that jack and that jack. Now I may be, people might be looking at this and saying, oh, that's gonna fall, but I don't know what choice I have at this point. So what I'm kind of thinking I'm going to do is back it up, try to back it up just a couple inches, and then see if I can't get it to drop onto my jack stands, which I might be able to just set them like this. Anyways, I might just do that. Go ahead and get them set underneath these arms first, and then start backing it up. But my biggest problem is once I get backed up, once the front axle comes to about here, this back section has to be lifted up so I can back the tractor out. That's my biggest problem at this moment, because I don't have any heavy equipment here. Really no way to lift this mechanically. I'm kind of banking on it being light enough that I might be able to lift it and prop it up with something, I'm hoping, and then I can back the tractor out and then hopefully just leave it as it is until I get the clutch job done, and then maybe I'll be able to just drive it back in and set it back down and reattach it this way. But we're gonna have to see. It's gonna be a work in progress, and this might just fall over, and I might have to get some kind of equipment here to get it reinstalled, but we will see what happens. I'm gonna get these jacks set tighter up to the tops of the loader frame, or that little lip, and I'll set you guys up whenever I start to try and back this out so you guys can watch it. But I'll get back to you guys.